Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. If you love your pet, your animals, you're going to love this woman, and I guarantee it. She is somebody who can communicate with our animals. For those who are skeptical, I've witnessed it. Just let that go. It's legit. She's also an author, a teacher, spokesperson. She's created a wonderful community worldwide where people like herself all get together and work to make this a better place for our animals and us as well. Today, we're going to talk about how to support our animals energetically, what we can do to make them feel better. I've done bazillions of podcasts on energy healing, i.e. Reiki and more. What about our animals? Well, let's dig into that. Kate Solisti joins us once again on the program. How you doing today?
Hey, Steve. Great to be with you.
Love having you on here. I learn so much, even learning how to communicate with my dog and cats from you. And I do it all the time. Like if
Wonderful.
Even the silliest things where I'm in a rush and I need my dog Tanner to poo so I can get to work, I will send that message out to him. And I got to say, like 90% of the time, he gets it and he reacts to it. Takes it. He likes spending 20 minutes walking around. You know, like I don't have time. I got to go. Like today, I'm in a rush, and I've sent him those messages telepathically, if you will, based on your instruction, and it works. It's and we didn't even get into the other side of things. Literally, the other side where you connect with animals that have passed on, and on and on and on. But moving that to the side for the moment today. Energetically treating our pets. What are we talking about here?
Well, we're basically talking about how to offer, and that's the best way to say it, offer healing energy, balancing energy to our animals. And this can be something we can do on a daily basis. It can be something that we can just incorporate into grooming and petting and brushing. But it takes intention. And so the first step, though, is to check in with yourself, because if you're whacked and crazy busy and whatever, you're not going to be sending a lot of good stuff to your animal. You're going to end up sending all that confusion and noise, and they're going to want to be away from you. So it is very important before you offer energy, or as you were talking about, sending a message to your dog, that you get very centered and grounded first, so that you really are connecting in. And so the first step is to do that, because there's so much you can do to support them when they're stressed, when they're ill, if they're transitioning. There's so many things you can do, but you have to first pay attention to what space you're in. So that's very important.
For anybody that we assume that people understand this thing called energy. We are energy. We've got a certain vibration. I have a different one than you. This pen has one, the chair, everything has an energetic vibration. And to illustrate that, if you ever went to a party, you walk in and you're like, this doesn't feel right. I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. It feels kind of heavy. I'm going to say I got a text and got to get out of here. Or you go and it's like, wow, it's feeling good. Like everybody's in a great mood and I'm feeling it too. I'm going to stay. I'm glad I came here. Well, to your point, if you're having a crazy, anxiety driven, wacky kind of day, and now you're going to try and communicate with one of your pets to ask them to do something or get a message or whatever, you're throwing that on them. And they're going to, like you said, they're going to run. They're going to, I don't want to deal with that. And I don't think there's any species better than reading energy than animals. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely right. One of the fascinating things is early on in my practice that I've been working with animals now for more than 30 years. They taught me that they see our energy field as easily, they perceive it, I should say, as easily as they perceive our physical body. So one of the ways to picture that is if you took a peach and you sliced it in half through the pit, and you opened it up, you'd see the pit in the center, and then you'd see the flesh of the peach, and then the skin of the peach, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the cats told me that that's how they perceive us. They see that pit is the physical body, but the energy body is the flesh of the peach, and there is a boundary, like the skin of the peach. Now, there are very many versions of that. And there are even discussions about how big different beings' energy fields are. And in my experience, there is no one size fits all, person or animal. We expand and contract our energy fields. An animal who has been abused or neglected, their energy field may be very close to them because they don't feel safe. They don't feel expansive. So be wary of people that say, oh, your dog's energy field is 5, 6, 7 times larger than yours. Maybe not. Maybe so, but maybe not. And it fluctuates with how they're feeling, just like ours does.
Wow.
So just like your example was a good one, Steve. You go into the room in the party, and when you feel that icky energy, you don't want to sometimes you might want to push your energy out to say, ooh, I need a boundary here. That's one way to work with energy. Another is like, I don't want to be part of this, so I'm just going to keep it here and I'm going to slink away.
Yeah.
Right?
And to your point, we transmit energy. We send it out, and then we get back essentially what we send out. So if you send out something negative, you're going to get negative back because you're attracting it. You're asking for
Odds
it.
are good. Yeah, odds are really good. Now, there's an interesting piece to that with our animals, because when our animals love us and they feel us scattered, that flesh of the peach is like, whoa, they will often try to help us, right? They will come in and they'll stabilize themselves. They'll ground to Mother Earth. They're usually always grounded to Mother Earth where we are not. And because we get too much in our heads. So unless, and again, an animal's been abused or neglected and they've gotten disconnected somehow, but most of our animals, because they love us, know how to come in and then help organize that energy field for us. And that's taken even further. There are animals who can perceive disturbances in our energy fields and in our bodies before we even know they're there. For example, finding tumors. There are border collies, they work also with the sense of smell, that dogs can smell the tissue is different in a tumor or a cancerous something than a healthy tissue. So,
Wow.
but that is focusing a lot on the sense of smell. But because I know, and you have mentioned so well, they're energetic beings too. So they're picking up a distortion in the energy in the body as well as smelling that the tissue's off. So they use both. They can't, dogs and cats, animals are not going to separate those things. They're just going to use all the tools they have.
Interesting.
So when you're having that day, who's going to come over? Usually your dog. And go,
Now,
hey.
why are they coming over? Why are they? Two things could happen. You're having a crazy kind of day. Energy's all over the place. They could, I don't want to deal with any of that. Or they could come over and want to support you, comfort you. I would say dogs more than cats. I think cats are more like, no, I'm going to wait till later. Maybe this will change. I love you, but I love you, but I love me too. So I'm over here.
That's perfect.
So why does the dog want to come over and make you feel better?
That's just how dogs are wired. They love us so unconditionally that they want to. I mean, it is part of their love for us. I believe, people say, well, dogs are in service to human beings. I don't agree with that. I feel that dogs are in service to the divine and to the whole picture. And the way they express that is to help us become more whole, find our way back to love, to source connection.
Wow. I never thought of it that way. We think that man's best friend and they're there for us, but they're working for a higher being.
There you go. That's it. I
don't know if you remember, this is kind of goofy though, and this is going way back, but I can't think of the hot dog company. Wow.
Oscar Mayer?
It was Kosher Hot Dogs, and they had this whole campaign.
Oh, Hebrew National.
Thank you. And
we answer
to a higher authority. And so it's almost, it sounds like that's what the dog is doing.
Absolutely. And it is very much to help us find our way back to connection and love. And so and people, we're getting sort of into another aspect of this, that animals will often take on our illnesses and our problems. And people will say to me, please tell my dog not to take on my ulcers or something worse. And I say to them, I might as well tell her to stop breathing. She is not going to stop, because part of her mission with you is to lighten your load. So the best way to help her is for you to address your issues that are creating the ulcer, because you take that pressure away from her by doing it yourself. And then she doesn't have to use her energy to take it away from you and then deal with it in her own body. So that's kind of the dog thing. Cats, on the other hand, and I think I mentioned this before in one of our talks, is that cats are extraordinary healers. So they can take stuff out of us, out of our energy field and our bodies, kind of massage it and get it out without taking it into their bodies. Unless their person needs to learn that lesson because they won't address the ulcer. We'll keep using that. They won't address their own problem in the ulcer. But when they find out their beloved animal is manifesting that for them or with them, then they tend to do something about it.
Wow. I never even considered that the issues we have, we're putting on them. So let's look at that for a moment. Put the little microscope on there. You've got stuff going on. Maybe you have an ulcer, and I had one, all from stress. Know it well. About a bunch of years ago. Now call it 8, whatever. Does that mean that we could be making our animals sick or ill because they're taking on what we have? I'm not suggesting that, I'm going to give my dog an ulcer. No, different species, and everybody reacts in a different way. But could we be potentially hurting them? And I don't mean this in a negative way, but their purpose is to take things on from us and help us. Could that actually happen? Well,
it's important. Again, we got to look at the human ego here. So there's ways that can serve us and ways that it doesn't. So remember what we were talking about in the beginning. They answer to a higher power. So if it is their mission to take on an illness for us, they're going to do it. Now, are we making them sick? Well, on one hand, you could say, yeah, we are, because we're not dealing with our own problems. So what I would like to say about that is the invitation, maybe a stronger word, than invitation, is to, get your stuff together and deal with what's making you sick. Because if you don't, your animal will probably continue to be sick too.
All right.
So are we making them sick? Once we know this, once we know that we see this, that we both have the same physical problem, and we don't do anything about it, then it is on us, right?
So that being said, why do our animals get sick? If we look at humans, more and more researchers coming back that it isn't so much genetic. We always, genetic. It's a very low percentage. We're making ourselves sick by our negative energy and, stress and all the stuff that we got going on. Then why do they get cancer and why do they get sick?
Well, again, this is a big subject. So there's the part of it that's related to us.
I'm like a car screeching down the road. I'm like all over the place here.
Yeah, it's okay. But we're all being bombarded with so many stresses to our physical bodies and energy bodies, right? Between electromagnetic stress, which Americans tend not to even focus on. There's a lot of stuff about 5G and this more and more cell phone stuff. There's the microplastics. Now everybody's got microplastics in them. That can't be good. Okay. And then what are we feeding our animals? Are we feeding them highly processed, crappy food?
Okay.
Most people are. So, and a lot of us are eating highly processed, crappy food too. What are we doing to the soil and the air and the water? All of those things, though, are a reflection of how we are not caring for ourselves.
Wow. And you made something clear, and I didn't even think of it, but the food we feed our animals, just like the food we feed ourselves at this point in time, is not good. And it's my understanding that all the cat, dog food, everything, it's not regulated by the FDA.
It was supposed to be, right? It was supposed to be. Actually, the USDA is in charge of regulating pet food, but it's very random. It's very poorly done, and now even more money's been pulled out of the FDA. So they fired veterinarians who were some of the smallest crew anyway. So that's correct. There's very little oversight. And so I've been for years teaching people how to make a homemade diet with food that you buy in the grocery store. But there are good small companies making raw food and lightly cooked foods. But this is not the stuff you find in the grocery store.
Right.
This is not, it's the same thing. I mean, when you go to the grocery store, you can buy the macaroni and cheese and the potato chips and the cookies. Sure. And that's what you're buying for your animals if you're buying most of the stuff there. Not all. You've got to read the ingredients, but also remember, the more processed something is, the less nutritious it is, right? So the more real food is more usable by the body. We used to say, we are what we eat. Well, we are what we absorb, right? If food just goes through us, it doesn't matter what we're eating, and that happens to a lot of animals. They need the enzymes to break food down, and that only occurs with raw food. Same with us. If we just ate all cooked food, we would not get all the enzymes we need. But happily, most of us eat some salads and fresh veggies, so we get live enzymes. But if we're feeding our animals canned and dry food all the time, they're not getting any enzymes. Their bodies are forced to create them, which can wear out the pancreas. I mean, this is a whole topic very dear to me. But but energetically, yes, the foundation of a good, healthy energy body is you've got to have a healthy physical body, and nutrition is the foundation.
And it comes down to the same thing for us and our animals: cost. Because if you could walk into a store and say, hi, here's my cart. Please fill it up with everything that's pure, wholesome, no pesticides, everything. And I got tons of money here. I'll be waiting when you're done.
Right.
And the same thing for our animals. We probably would be much, 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 and our animals, healthier than we are.
Right. So what people can do to start is, just as you do pay attention, you're not just eating potato chips and macaroni and cheese. Add real food to your animals' diets. People say, oh, they don't get any table scraps. Well, what do you think they lived on for centuries before pet food was invented? What they caught and what we gave them from our own tables. So one of the simplest things to do is start giving them adding some real food to that kibble, and not just a lot of vegetables, because they're not designed to eat vegetables. They are carnivores. Dogs are carnivores and carrion feeders. That's why they love old dead stuff. And cats are obligate carnivores, means they must eat meat. So do not ever, I'm sorry, try to make a cat a vegetarian.
Would you say
holistic, never?
It's a good idea if we're going to feed them pet food, and convenience, cost, I get it, that occasionally sprinkle some raw chicken, not raw, but cooked chicken on top of it. Yeah.
Or cooked ground beef. Make an extra hamburger for them and sprinkle that on top. Absolutely. Yogurt. Give them a nice, depending on their size, a spoonful of yogurt.
Wow, I never even thought of that. I would be dogs and cats?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peanut butter?
No. No peanut butter.
For dog or cat?
No peanut butter.
All right, let's look at this. I know so many people that will put peanut butter in one of their toys, and they're like, let me get that. Not good.
Well, you have to be very careful, because there's a lot of additives in peanut butter. If you're going to do this, do it with organic peanut butter. Really be very careful.
Okay.
Because there's a ton of pesticides. And then they add maltodextrin, which is sugar. Read the labels. The same with cat and dog food. If of course, I respect that, where your, the financial, our budgets are our budget, but read the can. If it starts with byproducts and it just says meat, and then it has a whole bunch of stuff you can't even pronounce, don't buy it. Okay.
You just opened my eyes. The peanut butter thing. I'm thinking that I just had a spoon of peanut butter on a wrap. I needed a quick snack. I never even considered the pesticide situation. I just think, well, it's peanut butter. This is
right.
it had to be grown. So
in the ground, it's a legume grown in the ground. It is not a nut. It is a legume like kidney beans and fava beans and beans, not
yep.
green beans. They're different. But yeah, it's a legume. And so, yes, dogs love the taste, but please don't give them the stuff that has sugars in it,
Wow.
maltodextrin.
Well, you're speaking to me because now I'm going to go buy organic peanut butter. I didn't even think of that. I think it's a quick snack. It's got some protein. It's got some fat. Fat's not a bad thing. Everybody, shies away from low carbs, right? But if it's got pesticides, which it has to, unless it's organic, because that's the way things are these days. Whoa. Okay.
Well, and like I said, look for the sugars in there too, because they add sugars and salt. Nobody needs all that sugar and salt.
No.
So just peanuts, just organic peanuts, period. That's all that it should have. Same with your ingredients with your pet food. Make sure it says chicken liver, chicken heart.
Sure.
Heart is very hard to get in there, but you want it to say chicken or beef, you and don't do byproducts. And if it says meal, chicken meal, that means it's dehydrated chicken. But go for real, make sure it says real chicken on it.
And you know what? I buy, side note, I know we went from energy to nutrition here.
Yeah.
But I go to the store and I buy a bag of chicken, and there's one major manufacturer of it. And then there's another one, which I've been recently buying, but I'll get 3 bags for $9 of cooked chicken. I'll throw it in a salad or whatever. And sometimes I'll have half a handful left, and I can just sprinkle that on, and it's not that expensive. That's where I'm going with that.
Right. Chop it up and give some to the kitties, give some to the dogs. But remember, cats should be on wet food. Even a poorer quality canned food is better than a high-end dry for cats.
I've heard that stuff, and my cats are on both. I need to go the other way. That can cause urinary tract issues in male cats.
The dry.
The dry. Mm-hmm. You've heard that too?
Well, absolutely, because cats are designed to get all their moisture from their food. So they're not designed to drink water like dogs and we are. The kidneys aren't designed to process water the way ours and the dogs are. So even if they drink and drink and drink, they're not hydrating as well as if they're eating canned, which is not ideal, eating meat, you can look at the grocery store. There is a brand called Fresh Pet that many grocery stores carry. They have its own case, and they have dog food and cat food, and it's lightly cooked. It's better than canned. It's because it's real food. They put a lot of crap in dog and cat food because they want to get rid of it. It's the refuse of the human food industry for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's whatever we got, we're throwing it in it, and they're allowed to.
That's exactly right. And unless it's a small company, and yes, you're going to pay more for good food, absolutely, just like you do for yourself. But honestly, you can drop $2,000 at the vet with, and not know anything. That buys a lot of ground turkey.
Ouch.
Right? Right?
Correct.
So pay now or pay later, right? And in the meantime, if you're paying now to give them healthy food, you're going to avoid a whole lot of problems down the line and give them a longer life and help them do their energy work with you to circle back, to help us heal and balance. Because, when the dog comes to give us love, what he's doing is he's saying, here I am, pet my head. And he knows instantly your nervous system's going to drop down. He knows it. He can feel it, smell it, see it. He knows you're just going to go, oh. And so when you back to your guy who you said, come on, buddy, hurry up. We got to do your business. Make sure you promise him a longer walk another time.
Energetically or verbally or both?
Oh, send it in your picture or say it out loud. It doesn't matter. Say, okay, later this this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow, I promise a longer walk. Payback, So you don't get in a habit of going, oh my God, I'm out of time, do your thing. Then that's not honoring him.
Same as a kid.
Right.
Same as a kid.
Exactly.
Wow. Learning a lot today. And this is what you do. So resourceful as an author, a speaker. Again, you created this community. What country is that? I want to say Sweden. I can't remember.
Oh no. So my community is called the Harmony Pack.
Yes.
And that is my own community. What you're thinking of is our international our international professional animal communicator association. I am a founding member and on the steering committee of that. And we are in the process of creating a professional organization for animal communicators worldwide.
Beautiful.
So we have standards and ethics and all that, and a membership organization that they can be a part of so that they can benefit from all of us who have had decades of experience and learn and share and grow. So that's IPACA.
If somebody wants to connect with you, Kate, on any level, be it communication, even a resource, even health-wise, because got to tell you, it's a lot easier talking with you than a vet. You're not a substitute veterinarian. However, sometimes you can't get in there and you can't get questions answered. And you've been doing this a while. So how do we find you?
Yes, it's very simple. It's my name, KateSolisti.com. That's my website, and everything is on there about how to, everything Steve said, how to contact me, how to sign up for a private session with me, learn about my Harmony Pack, how to participate in that. And there's some different classes and things that you can also purchase on my website that could be helpful. So when you sign up, I have a lovely little freebie that is my steps to communicating with your animals. It's like 14 steps that give you a leg up.
And how do we find that?
That's just when you sign up for my mailing list. It's on my website. It just says sign up here, and the gift is my steps to animal communication. So
beautiful. Solisti spelled Solisti. And I just realized this, but that includes SOL, which is also means sun. And you are the light when it comes to connecting with our animals. You really are. And I appreciate you being here. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
much.
Steve. It's always fun.
Likewise. We'll catch up next time. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.